he used to be a Christian, but he converted to Islam. Uh, he, along with 30 of his companions, were out at sea, and his boat was caught up in a storm. For 1 month, the boat was knocked around at sea, and in the end, after a month, they arrived on an island. When they disembarked their boat and they approached the island, they saw a strange animal. The animal was completely covered in hair, so much hair that you couldn't tell the front from the back. And they were shocked to see this animal. And they asked the animal, "Who are you, or what are you?" And it said that, "I am a spy. And nearby there is a temple. And in the temple there is a man who wishes to see you and ask you some questions." So they became curious. So they entered the temple. When they entered the temple, they saw a horrific sight they'd never seen before. A huge, large man who was shackled and tied up his chains. His hands were tied to his neck with the chain, and his ankles and knees were tied using big iron chains. They'd never seen such a huge man, physically huge, and they wondered who he was. And then a conversation ensued between them and the individual that was in front of them. And when they asked, "Who are you?" he said, "Will you tell me who you are and how you got here?" As Tamim Dari radiallahu ta'ala anhu explained how they were travelers, they were stuck at sea, and for a month they were at sea, and they all of a sudden arrived at this island. And then he started asking some strange questions. "Are there fruits in the garden of Baysan?" And they said, "Yes." He said, "Is there water in the 10-mile long uh, river Tabariya?" And they replied, "Yes, there is loads of water in it." And he said, "Is there water in the fountain of Zughur? Do people use it for farming?" They replied, "Yes," in the affirmative. There is water in it, people use it for farming. After asking a few questions, the man told them that he was the Masih Dajjal and said that, "I am awaiting permission. When I get permission, I will be free. And I shall wander the entire earth apart from Haramain Tayyibain, but I will not be able to enter the two sacred, the two holy lands, because there will be angels at every gate standing and guarding the two holy sanctuaries." Um, there are many more hadith about Dajjal. He won't have a left eye, he will be one-eyed. He will be able to trick people. He'll have powers, extraordinary powers. He will wander the entire earth in 40 days. The first day will be equivalent to a year, the second equivalent to a month, the third equivalent to a week. The rest will be normal 24-hour days. And he will wander the earth claiming to be God. Another extraordinary thing is that he will have a garden with him, which he will call his paradise, and a fire with which he will call his hell. But there will be the total opposite. His garden will actually be the hell, and his hell will be actual Jannat, the true Jannat. And those who believe that he is a deity, he is God, he will put them into his heaven, and those who disbelieve, he will put into his hell. But this will just be a trickery, it will be an illusion. He will make rain pour from the sky, and he will make vegetation grow just by pointing at the earth. And he will bring people back to life. And hence he will use these tricks and these illusions to misguide people. The books, Sayyidi Al-Hazrat Rahmatullahi mentions that there will be one man who will be under the impression that his faith is strong. There's something very important for us to learn here. To be proud of your own faith and think, my faith is strong, nothing can harm me. And he'll go just to see the tricks of the Dajjal. Let's see what Dajjal is all about. And, there's no way that I can be misled from faith and I'll become a non-Muslim and I'll become a kafir. And I just want to see what Dajjal is all about. But when he goes and he witnesses Dajjal, he sees the illusions and the trickery, the sorcery of the Dajjal. He will be misled and he will leave his faith and he will end up proclaiming that this is God, that Dajjal is God. So we learn that deliberately sitting in evil company, deliberately putting ourselves in a situation which will risk the stability of our iman, this is prohibited in Islam. Even in the glorious Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Do not sit with the ظالمين. لا تقعد بعد الذكرى. Once you realize that you're sat with the wrong people, evil people, then remove yourself from that company. And even in the glorious Quran, Allah Ta'ala talks about how i'raz, staying away from jahil people, from people who are harmful for your deen. So, and this is sadly in this day and age, especially a lot of youngsters. Let me go and listen to his speech or her speech, and even though it's an anti-Islamic speech, but I just want to see what they're talking about. We don't know. We shouldn't trust our nafs, and you don't know when your nafs can play games and subconscious games on you, and you could end up being misguided even when you thought you could not be misguided. So part of iman is to have taqwa. Part of taqwa is being afraid and being worried that I might lose my iman. Allah Imam Ahmad Reza Khan Barelvi Rahmatullah says, he who is not concerned about losing his iman, there's a risk he will lose it at the time of death. So, we shouldn't act proud as though we can never lose our faith. We should hope and pray that we never lose it, but be very, very cautious when it comes to this. Allah Hazrat Rahmatullah Ali, he says that hadith says, whoever trusts his base self has trusted a big liar, a kazab. And even if your base self, if your nafs swears and makes a qasam and says something to you, then it is still lying to you. So your nafs, your subconscious self, will sometimes lie to you. So there's one big Dajjal, but the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us that there will be 30 other Dajjals at least as well. Every misguided leader is a Dajjal. That there will be many, misguided people, and Huzur sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us to stay away from them. There's a famous hadith in Muslim Sharif that there will be in the end of time many dajjals, many deceitful. Dajjal literally means a fraud. Many fraudsters who will lie to you. They will say things to you about your deen that you will never have heard of before, never, even your forefathers will never have heard of before, and you must stay away from them. What the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he said, stay away from them, keep them away from you, and don't allow them to mislead you and put you into fitna. Let's look at some more signs of Qiyamah, some more signs of Judgment Day. Hazrat Sufyan Saudi Rahmatullah, who was many centuries ago, he said, we're living in a time where the Sahaba Kiram used to seek Allah's refuge from this time. They used to ask Allah Ta'ala for protection from being in this time. And Hadith Kareem in Ihya al-Ulum mentioned by Imam al-Ghazali Rahmatullah, the Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that there's something which I fear for you more than Dajjal. And that thing is Aimma al-Mudillin, misleading leaders. Something I fear for you more than the Dajjal is Imams, leaders who misguide people. And even ulama. The best of people are good ulama, and the worst of people are bad ulama, evil ulama, scholars. It is very important that we're careful. Some people like to listen to every single scholar, and regardless of what the background of that scholar or what the ideology or the beliefs of that scholar are, that's very dangerous, and it's been discouraged in the hadith. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there's a story about how a saint, he saw the shaitan once, and he was sitting outside a city, and he was vacant, he wasn't doing anything, and the saint asked him, why are you misleading the people in the city? Isn't your job to mislead people? What are you doing sitting here farig? And the shaitan said that the leaders of that city are doing my job for me. So leadership is something so crucial, so delicate and subtle, and it's very hard these days, especially in our communities. Leadership, is very scarce, is very rare. Sadly, it's a very sad reality that in our communities, people lead by harassment, people lead by intimidation rather than by wisdom and intellect and knowledge. दबा के रखना लोगों को, रोब जमाए रखना लोगों पे, forcing people, like bullying people, harassing people into obedience. um, is common, and we see all around us. So true leadership based on wisdom and intellect, fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is something we don't see in this day and age. Rather, the leadership that we see around us is people are just trying to subdue, bullying people into submission. You can silence people just because you silence someone, especially in our Pakistani community. It's like लोगों को दबा के रखो, दबा के रखे लोगों को, किसी को जो ना बोलने का मौका ना दे, खामोश करा दे, किसी का मुंह बंद करा देना. Because आपने किसी का मुंह बंद करा दिया है, कर दिया है, doesn't mean कि वो मुतमईन हो चुका है, and doesn't mean that he respects you now. You might silence someone for a short while. That doesn't mean you've convinced him that you're right. And it doesn't mean that you've gained izzat. He might have lost respect for you inside your heart. We actually teach our children as well. Sadly, in our community, in our Pakistani community, we teach our children, someone speaks in front of you, if he insults you, you insult him back 7 times, 10 times. And it's the wrong type of tarbiyat to give. We don't talk with narmi. We say, narmi se baat karne ka zamana nahi hai. Narmi se baat kare to log sar pe chढ़ जाते हैं, जो ना दबा के रखना पड़ता है लोगों को. This is not the prophetic sunnah. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his time, the Arabs, they were very barbaric. जंगजू कौम थी, जितना वो vicious people. But Sarkar sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't say to the Sahaba, "इनको दबा के रखा करें." He was a husn akhlaq. He was bardasht, husn akhlaq, character, and forgiveness. Forgiveness, that's what the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught the people. So leadership and character, husn akhlaq, Aka Kareem alayhi salam, जंगजू कौम थी, अरब के लोग इंतहा दर्जे की बदअखलाकी का सलूक करते थे, लेकिन आका अलैहि सलाम ने ये तरबियत नहीं दी कि लोगों को दबा के रखें, इनसे जो है ना इनका मुंह बंद करके रखें. It was tahammul, hilm, it was sabr, it was patience. But we have many things in our culture, in our Pakistani culture, in our traditional Indian, Asian culture, which are against the Sunnah. And because of this, there's so much friction amongst us. Carrying on with the signs of Qiyamah, there's so many hadiths on this subject. आका करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने इरशाद फरमाया, लोगों पर ऐसा वक्त आएगा कि लोगों पर वो दिन भी आएगा कि जब कातिल ना जानेगा कि किस जुर्म में कत्ल किया गया. जब कातिल नहीं जानता, someone will kill, कोई कत्ल करेगा, उसे पता भी नहीं होगा कि किस वजह से कत्ल कर रहा, और जिसको कत्ल किया जा रहा है उसे नहीं पता होगा कि मुझे कत्ल क्यों किया जा रहा. That's the level of zulm amongst the people. The murderer will not even know why he's killing, and the murdered victim will not even know why he's being murdered. And both of them will be in the fire of hell. The qatil and the maqtul will be in the fire of hell. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. इस फरमाने अली का ज़हूर आज पूरे तौर से हो रहा है. बात बात पर मक्खी, मच्छर, खटमल की तरह इंसान कत्ल कराए जा रहे हैं, जिसकी वजह यह है कि कातिलों को सजा नहीं मिलती. मकतूल के वारिसीन एक के एवज 2-3 को मार देते हैं, फिर वो लोग 2 के एवज 3-4 को. This is, we see sadly happening in our countries back home. Here we have some sort of justice to some level. But the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, such will be the oppression towards the end of time. And he said at the end, why the qatil and the maqtul both will be in hell. Why will the maqtul be in hell? Because he had intended to kill as well. So when a person's made the firm intention to kill his brother, even if he doesn't, then he still committed a sin. That's a guna as well. Sarkar Madina sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that in Kareeb एक ऐसा वक्त आएगा कि पूरे आलम की कौमें सारे जमा हो जाएंगे और मुसलमानों पे हमला करेंगे, और इस तरह एक दूसरे को दावत देंगे जिस तरह लोग किसी दस्तरखान पे बैठ के एक दूसरे को दावत देते हैं, आओ तुम भी खा लो. The way people sit at a meal and they invite their friends and say, come on, you come and eat as well. That's how the nations of the world will call each other and invite each other to attack the Muslim ummah, the Muslim nation. So one of the Sahaba, he was very surprised when he heard this, And he said, Ya Rasulullah, why, will we be very weak at that time? Will we be, a minority in terms of number, in our quantity, ta'dad mein kam honge? And Aka Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, no, you will not be in a minority, your numbers will not be less, but you will be weightless, you will be like the froth or the foam on top of the ocean surface, which seems like it's excessive, but it has no weight. Foam or froth, it's weightless, वजन नहीं होता उसमें. And your enemies will not fear you. They will have no respect for you, they will have no haibat for you. And when the Holy Prophet ﷺ was asked the reason for this, why the Muslim Ummah will lose its respect amongst the nations and amongst the world, he ﷺ said, Hubbu dunya wa karahiyatul maut. The love of the dunya and dislike of death. Dunya ki muhabbat aur maut se dar. These two things which will cause the Ummah to be weak and which cause the whole world to come uniting against them. So my dear brothers, there's a really long hadith, an interesting hadith. Ibratanak hadith in Ihya al-Ulum, Imam Ghazali mentioned this. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam ने इरशाद फरमाया कि जब तुम्हारी औरतें सरकशी करेंगी, तुम्हारे नौजवान फासिक हो जाएंगे और तुम जिहाद छोड़ दोगे, तो उस वक्त तुम्हारा क्या हाल होगा? सहाबा किराम ने अर्ज की, या रसूलल्लाह, कि ऐसा होगा, ऐसा वक्त भी आएगा? तो आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने इरशाद फरमाया, उस ज़ात की कसम जिसके कब्ज़ा कुदरत में मेरी जान है, इससे भी ज़्यादा सख्त मसाइल होंगे. सहाबा किराम ने अर्ज की, या रसूलल्लाह, इससे ज़्यादा सख्त मसाइल क्या होंगे? इरशाद फरमाया, तुम्हारा क्या हाल होगा जब तुम नेकी का हुक्म नहीं दोगे और बुराई से नहीं रोकोगे? There will come a time when my ummah will not preach goodness and will not prohibit evil. Yani will become complacent, will become passive, will just watch evil happening in front of us, unfold in front of us, and will just, spectate, will be spectators. Sahaba kiram ने कि या रसूलल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, क्या ऐसा होगा? इरशाद फरमाया, हाँ, उस ज़ात की कसम जिसके कब्ज़ा कुदरत में मेरी जान है, इससे भी ज़्यादा सख्त होगा. सहाबा किराम अलैहिम रिदवान ने अर्ज़ की, या रसूलल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, इससे ज़्यादा सख्त क्या होगा? इरशाद फरमाया, उस वक्त तुम्हारा क्या हाल होगा जब तुम नेकी को बुराई और बुराई को नेकी समझोगे. In your eyes you will believe good to be evil and evil to be good. सहाबा किराम ने अर्ज़ की, या रसूलल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, क्या ऐसा होगा? इरशाद फरमाया, उस ज़ात की कसम जिसके कब्ज़ा कुदरत में मेरी जान है, इससे भी ज़्यादा सख्त होगा. Worse things will happen. सहाबा किराम ने अर्ज़ की, या रसूलल्लाह, इससे ज़्यादा सख्त क्या होगा? इरशाद फरमाया, उस वक्त तुम्हारा क्या हाल होगा जब तुम बुराई का हुक्म दोगे और नेकी से रोकोगे. This ummah will command and preach evil, promote and propagate evil, and discourage good deeds. Sahaba kiram अलैहिम रिदवान ने अर्ज़ की, या रसूलल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, क्या इस तरह होगा? इरशाद फरमाया, हाँ, उस ज़ात की कसम जिसके कब्ज़ा कुदरत में मेरी जान है, इससे भी ज़्यादा सख्त होगा. अल्लाह ताला फरमाता है, मुझे अपनी कसम है, मैं लोगों पर ऐसा फितना मुकर्रर करूंगा कि उसमें समझदार लोग भी हैरान रह जाएंगे. This is a hadith Qudsi, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said. Allah Ta'ala said, I will inflict troubles upon the people due to themselves, their own fault. They have themselves to blame. Because when they do zulm upon themselves, apni jaanon pe zulm karte hain, Allah Ta'ala will inflict fitnas upon people that even geniuses and even intellectual people will be baffled and bedazzled they'll be shocked and they won't understand where have these fitne come from. There'll be such fitne inside the ummah. मुझे अपनी ज़ात की कसम, मैं उन पर ऐसे फितने मुकर्रर करूँगा कि उसमें समझदार लोग भी हैरान रह जाएंगे. So this is due to our own ghaflat, our own forgetting death, मौत को भूल जाना, मौत से नफरत करना, मौत से डरना और दुनिया की मोहब्बत और लालच. हदीस पाक, जब मेरी उम्मत दुनिया को बड़ी चीज़ समझने लगेगी तो इस्लाम की हैबत उससे निकल जाएगी, और जब नेकी का हुक्म देना और बुराई से मना करना छोड़ देगी तो वही की बरकत से महरूम हो जाएगी, और जब आपस में गाली गलोच इख्तियार करेगी तो अल्लाह ताला की हाँ मकाम इज्जत से गिर जाएगी. And this is in this day and age when we try to explain masail to someone, it's like we just people don't want to know masail, they don't want to know the deen, they want just like the basic, even just basic 5 namazes. We don't tell us anything more than the 5 namazes. We don't want any other thing, halal, haram. They don't want to know. And within that era, we're living in that time where preaching is just, keep your deen to yourself. Your deen, there's a famous quote, a famous sort of dialogue. Your deen is your personal thing. Keep it to yourself. Keep it inside your home. You don't wear your religion on your sleeve. Or yes, and sadly, preaching bad things. And every year, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that every year is going to get worse than the previous year. Hadith Rasul ﷺ, there will be fitne, and the people who are sitting in those fitne are better than the ones who are standing. And by sitting, he meant the people who completely stay away from the fitne. And the ones who are standing means the people who look and observe and spectate the fitne from afar. And the standing one is better than the walking one. So someone who's standing and looking at the fitna from far is better than someone who's approaching and is close, who's involved in the fitna. And the walker is better than the runner. So the one who's just slightly involved inside that fitna, he is better than the one who's fully immersed inside that fitna. So he sallallahu basically the mafhum of this hadith is that the further you can stay away from misguidance and you can save yourself from fitna, the better it is. So there are so many signs of judgment. The Aka Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam ने इरशाद फरमाया कि दोज़खियों में 2 किस्में ऐसी होंगी जिन्हें मैंने अपने इस अहद मुबारक में नहीं देखा. ये 2 किस्में जो आइंदा आने वाली हैं, 2 types of दोज़खीस who will come in the future, they haven't been witnessed in my time. एक वो औरतें जो पहनकर भी नंगी होंगी, who will be clothed but unclothed at the same time. दूसरों को अपनी हरकतों के जरिए बहकाने वाली और खुद भी बहकी हुई, इनके सर बुख्ती ऊंटों की एक तरफ झुकी हुई कोहानों की तरह होंगी. वो जन्नत में दाखिल ना होंगी और ना उसकी खुशबू पाएंगी, और उसकी खुशबू इतनी दूरी से 500 साल की मुसाफत से, you can smell the fragrance of Jannat from 500 years away, a distance of 500 years away, but these women will not be able to smell it because of the sin that they've committed. They will be clothed, but their clothing will be thin, or they will be partially clothed. Or even some like the sisters have scarves on, but they are see-through and you can see the skin through. Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha once, she tore a very thin scarf of a girl and replaced it with a very thick one. So parda and haya is very, very important in our deen. And not just the women, but the men as well, the qillat haya. One hadith says that one of the signs of Qiyamah is khutaba kasir honge lekin ulama kalil honge. There's a difference between an alim and a khatib. Khatib is just someone who's an expert in speaking, and alim is someone who really understands the deen. One of the signs of Judgment Day is that there will be many khatibs, many speakers, but the ulama amongst them, not every khatib will be a speaker, a scholar. And something, regarding how much ignorance there will be. Hadith Pak says that amongst 50 people, not a single one's namaz will be accepted. 50 people will pray namaz, but not a single one of them, their namaz will be accepted. There is so much ignorance regarding ahkamat, how there's a specific way you should pray namaz, a specific way to recite the Quran Kareem, And if you don't recite, like if someone just decides, I feel like doing one sajda instead of two sajda. I feel like doing an extra sajda, three sajda instead of two. I feel like doing two rukus instead of one. You can't just make the masail. It's important for every single Muslim to learn the masail. And Sarkari Madina sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there will come a time when if 50 people will pray namaz, not a single one will be accepted because they've not bothered to learn the ahkamat. He also sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the hadith that क़यामत के करीब इन जलील लोगों को इज्जत दी जाएगी, इज्जतदारों को जलील किया जाएगा, अमानतदारों को खाइन उन पे खयानत की तोहमतें लगेंगी और खाइनों पर लोग सदारत का जो ना वो ओहदा देंगे. Untrustworthy people will be trusted, trustworthy people will not be trusted, decent people will be slandered, and wicked and wretched people will be given places of honor and leadership. So everything, there'll be an imbalance, everything will just be this disequilibrium, this imbalance in society. So izzat, what is it? We're all paranoid about izzat, but we need to understand what izzat is and gain izzat according to the Shari tariqah. And not misuse our bradaris in this day and age and force and bully people, intimidate people. And the izzat that we gain, we force, we bully people, intimidate and harass people and force izzat for ourselves. That's not really izzat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to understand these signs of Judgment Day and give us tawfiq to have taqwa and wara and have ilm and pray namaz. There's so many things, but so less time. And not just sisters, but men as well. May Allah ta'ala give us all haya and modesty and sharm. And jazakallah for joining us in today's Jumu'ah khutbah. Please make sure that you pray your Zuhr namazes wherever you are. Even if you want to do Jamaat at home. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me and forgive you all and protect us all and save us all and give us the tawfiq to populate our masjids once again like before the lockdown. Ameen bijahi nabi ameen sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.